For years, I came down to the altar time and time again. I prayed desperately and fervently, Lord, take this from me. Lord, heal me. Lord, heal me from bipolar disorder. Stop the mania from coming again. Lord, please don't let me fall into depression again. And for the longest time, I felt like I kept getting a no as an answer. But also, I felt a sweet reassurance from the Lord. It wasn't anything really audible, but I knew that God was saying that He had a purpose in this. I really wanted it just to be gone, to just be over, to miraculously be done with it. And to add to my frustration, I actually knew people that had gone down to the altar and it was done instantaneously, just like that. But that wasn't what God had in mind for me. For years, my prayer was much the same. Lord, take this from me, heal my mind. And I continued to receive a no. I did what most do. I turned to the medical community. I took meds and I went to counseling, but that didn't stop the relapses. Unfortunately, followers of Christ don't have much more to go on than the rest of the world. We've been taught to pray and to take our meds and go to counseling. However, meds and counseling are not designed for healing. They're simply management tools that continue to keep you locked into the problem. So that means I was spending time here praying at the altar and then using tools that were designed to keep me locked into the problem. And of course, I kept facing the problem year after year after year after year. Now, before I share with you the powerful prayer that finally allowed me to heal completely from bipolar disorder, I first want to explain an important principle that most believers have missed. This book doesn't just tell us who God is and that He is capable of healing. It also tells us about the natural laws that God Himself put into place. One of those laws is the law of sowing and reaping. Sowing and reaping, what's that? So all throughout the Bible, starting in Genesis, we see references to sowing and reaping. The law of sowing and reaping looks like this. You can't plant pumpkin seeds and expect tomatoes. If you plant pumpkin seeds, you will harvest pumpkins. Now, if you plant tomato seeds, you will harvest tomatoes. But no matter what type of seed you plant, if you plant lousy seeds or you don't prepare the soil, you can't expect to get a good harvest. Now, what you probably didn't realize is that if you are experiencing mental illness of any kind, whether that's anxiety, depression, or bipolar disorder, this is based on the principle of sowing and reaping. Now, you might be saying, whoa, you're blaming me? No, I'm not blaming you. Much of what you've sowed into your life and how you're handling your soil and watering your seeds, you've been told these things. This is just part of our culture. We are all pretty much sowing and reaping in a similar way. We're told, here, do this. It's good for you. Oh, this thing too. This is also good for you. And it turns out that's really just like pouring sugar water into your gas tank. It won't run very well. Anxiety and depression is on the rise across all Americans, whether they are Christian or not, because we are learning the same horrible ways to handle our bodies and our minds. We are reaping mental illness because we are planting seeds that lead to mental illness. The Bible says, do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever one sows, that will he also reap. Now, the good news is you can learn to pull out those weeds and pull up those dead and dying things. You can also add some nutrients to the soil, plant better seed, and very quickly you'll be reaping a harvest of unshakable peace, abundant joy, and emotional mastery. So when I prayed, God, take this from me, I wanted the garden in my mind to just instantaneously and miraculously be made healthy. And God said no to that instantaneous miracle. But He did say yes to the journey of healing. And I am thankful that I have had to go the slow route, because after I learned the proper way that brings healing to the body, mind, and spirit, I've been able to share this same strategy with many others, allowing them to experience freedom and changing their legacy so they could bring up their children and their grandchildren in good health. God had a lot more people in mind than just me when He showed me how to crack the code. The prayer that changed everything for me was quite simple. Lord, I know You can heal me from bipolar disorder and all of these complicated and severe anxiety disorders. Show me how. And that was it. Lord, show me how to heal. And just like with the harvest, there are specific things that must be done in order to make sure that you have a good crop. Not 100 things, just a few specific things that need to be done in order to harvest healing. And while you're not looking for 100 things to do, you also can't look for one-step solutions. That isn't going to work either. But there are very specific steps that must be taken and implemented in order for healing to happen. Now for you, you have two choices. You can pray that same prayer, Lord, show me how to heal, and then spend years, just like I did, figuring out the how. Or you can accept this video as an answer to your heart's prayer. You have been praying all of this time for a change, for an answer. You have been praying for healing. And I have already taken the slow, long, and arduous journey, discovering what needs to be done in order to heal. Those who have worked with me have turned their life around in record time because they simply followed a step-by-step strategy rather than guessing and going through all of the trial and error that's involved in a process like this. This second choice is a bit of a shortcut. You can find the link to my book in the description below, where I share the same step-by-step strategy that I used to go from living a life under the weight of severe bipolar disorder, which for me included depression and severe anxiety disorders, to the place of true freedom, where I now know the joys of emotional mastery. I know that freedom is possible for you too, if you simply apply the principle of sowing and reaping. And now that you have a powerful prayer in your hand, you need to discover how you've fallen into a medication programming trap so devious you probably didn't even see it coming for you. The link is right here and in the description below.